right, I'll wait a few more seconds so people don't miss anything as we start. All right, well, welcome Elon parents and students of class of 2030. We are very excited that you are here. My name is Emily Lyons. I'm one of the assistant directors of parent engagement. I've been with the parent engagement office for 7 years, and part of my role is creating summer welcome events and webinars like this to share the information from summer welcome events that you may not have been able to attend, or maybe you still had questions from summer welcome events and wanted to ask those questions amongst our two parents and our student here. So you'll see down below there's the Q&A. We welcome you to use the Q&A to ask your questions at any point in time. My colleagues Robin and will be answering them. They are both team members of parent engagement. Robin is the other assistant director, and she's also class of 2020 grad. And Will is our director of parent engagement. And he also graduated in 2025 with his MBA. So lots of knowledge within parent engagement office. So I'm very excited to welcome our parents, Andy and Katie Cox, and our student, Elena Casey, as they'll be sharing their Elon experiences with you and answering your questions. Andy and Katie, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Thanks for having us. Andy and Katie Cox, as she said, we're from Charlotte, North Carolina. We will have two sons at Elon. We have a rising senior, Andrew, who's majoring in sport management with three minors, German studies, business administration, and finance. So quite an eclectic mix, but I think that's one of the great advantages of Elon is you can do things like that. Andrew's had just an amazing experience at Elon with the various activities he's been involved with. I'm sure we'll be talking about such a good experience that his younger brother will be entering the freshman class. So we'll be empty nesters here in a couple of weeks, but I'm excited for our younger son, Carter, and excited to see our older son finish.
I don't have anything to add to that right now.
Super. Thanks, Andy and Katie. Elena, can you introduce yourself and say what year and what's your major?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Elena. I am a senior. I'm a nursing major, and I am involved in I'm the one of the student coordinators for new student orientation, which you all will be experiencing in a couple weeks. I work for the Office of Financial Aid, and I am also on the President Student Leadership Advisory Council.
Super, super. And you'll be telling us in a little bit some other things that you've been involved in as well while you're on campus.
Yes.
But let's first, next Friday, August 21st, is move-in day. All students should have received their move-in time for when they need to be at Shar Center. So if you have a 10 a.m. move-in time, you and how many of your cars you are bringing need to be going through the parking lot at Shar Center. You'll easily find the path to go to Shar Center. You'll see people cheering you on, welcoming you. Huge celebration. We're so excited for you to be here. And you'll go around Shar Center and you'll see which line to get in. Like I said, if you have two cars, just have both cars go ahead and go through that space. And you'll get a packet with your Phoenix card, any keys that you might need, a hang tag, a map for just Friday because we'll change some directionals on streets and have some streets blocked off to make it easier for residence hall drop off and whatnot. And then you'll go to your residence hall. Andy and Katie, you'll be experiencing moving again with Carter, but I'm sure you remember moving with Andrew just a few years ago. What was your experience with moving then?
Well, we do have a daughter who graduated from a different university, so we have done move-in at more than one school, and I cannot tell you how amazing Elon's move-in is. You drive through Shar Center, it's an assembly line, you get their information, you drive to your residence hall, you pull up. There's millions, well, that's an exaggeration, lots of students there to help move in your stuff. They empty your car completely, they put everything in these big, large, rolly blue bins, and they take it to your dorm room. You don't have to carry anything. It's great. Very, very easy.
Yep, super efficient, which we certainly appreciated. And I think Elon has actually been recognized as one of the best freshman move-in experiences in the country. So we certainly saw that and experienced it.
Super. Elena, so from a student perspective, what was your experience of move-in like?
I was really nervous, but I honestly had no reason to be nervous. As I said, we went through Shar, and when you all go through Shar, the lines are based off of where your student is moving in each lane, and it is really, really easy for them to direct you to which lane, so you don't have to worry about that at all, and then you'll get directed exactly where you need to go, exactly which route. It's so smooth. And when I pulled up, I was really worried about the amount of stuff that I brought because I was like, oh my gosh, like I've brought too much, like everyone's gonna judge me. No one judges. I filled up numerous of the blue bins, and everyone was so kind and helpful. And there were orientation leaders, there were RAs, there were athletes helping, and they honestly, I like felt bad because I didn't feel like I was doing much, but I offered so much and they just wanted to take it all. And they were really, really helpful and asked me where I'm from and everything like that. So it's a super, super high energy, supportive environment. And I genuinely could not have asked for a better move-in experience. It was so easy and painless.
Yes, yes. Definitely have all your bags labeled on the outside in some way, because they're putting them in the bins, and there might be other people's bags in the same bins, and so you want to be able to know which one is yours very quickly and easily and be able to grab it. At every residence hall, there'll be a tent. There'll be staff members. Facilities management will be there. They'll have the supplies you need and some tools. And even if you need help or assistance, and if you're going to loft your bed, that's all there for you. Um, don't stress about that. They'll have all the supplies no matter what your move-in time is. Um, People are driving around, might be passing out snacks or cold waters. It is North Carolina in August. It's a bit humid, and it might be a little warm. So, and even if your resident hall has AC, most of the time the doors are going to be open all day long. So it might not be that cool on Friday in the residence hall as you're unpacking things and whatnot. Um, but again, there's going to be tons of people. Different sports teams are helping unloading cars. Um, so how many ever cars you have after they're unloaded. Andy, I know you said you went and parked the car. Um, so you can go park the car while somebody else is going up into the the room and taking the different bags and whatnot up there. So and don't feel the need to tip the people who are helping. They are doing it voluntarily. Staff members and athletes and anybody on campus is given the opportunity to sign up and help. And it's really so much fun from a staff member's perspective, to be able to kind of be in the middle of all of this. Elena, I know you've said you've helped in the past, and it's just an exciting time, and you see people so happy and you're able to help them. So definitely no reason to tip. But the move-in time that you were given is when you are at Shar Center. It doesn't have to be exactly, if it's 10 o'clock and you're there at 10:05, it's fine. We just give those times to kind of stagger, so people aren't all coming at once. Um, but yeah, it's a pretty easy move-in experience, most definitely. So, and then
Yeah, I was gonna
The
say maybe
yeah.
a couple of pro tips. So if you forget something or realize that you need something that you don't have, there are stores nearby, a Target and a Walmart in particular, that are super convenient. Um, at least Target, we didn't go to the Walmart, has a huge college dorm area just for Elon move-in. So whatever you need will be there. It does get super busy. So I think the recommendation is get there as early as you can to try to beat the crowd. But they have literally whatever you could possibly imagine that you need.
Yes, yes, you're right. The local stores in Burlington are very aware of when Elon move-in is. So they are well stocked. You'll see an Elon section in both Target and Walmart. So they are well prepared. You can do pickup orders ahead of time or later. There is time when the students go to orientation at 4:30, is it, Elena, on Friday?
Yes, 4:30 they meet their orientation leaders. And the last move-in time should be no later than 2 p.m. So you certainly have enough time. Actually, it's before 2 p.m. So you certainly have enough time to get everything moved in and settle in, and then parents can continue working on everything while the students are at orientation event.
Yes, yes, yes. And the parents can stay in the residence hall. We do have some parent program happening that afternoon. So there's a panel happening. If you haven't looked at new student programs, the schedule for families and for students, there's a student orientation schedule and a parent and new family orientation schedule. So it breaks down the times when there's programming for parents on Friday and Saturday. I highly suggest looking at that on Elon's website. My biggest tip, if you haven't discovered, you can use Elon's website like Google. And anything you want to search for, go in the top right corner in the search bar and type new student programs, and that will get you to the schedule, any, if you need to know about the mail room, anything like that. Um, there's tools available from other people on staff. Like I said, facilities will be around helping. There'll be some hand trucks if you need them. Um, the mail room also has hand trucks. You can mail things ahead of time to the mailroom, depending on if you need to or not for packages. And you have, a couple days to pick those up. So you could pick them up on Friday or Saturday or Sunday. Um, it depends on what size they are, depends on how much, extra help you might need. So, but
And
yeah,
I'm looking at a
yes,
couple of the questions here that have come up around move-in specifically.
yeah,
So,
yes,
I think everything that you need to loft the beds, if you want to do that, is in the room. So it's there. You don't have to worry about that. There's a
hmm
question about microwave and refrigerator. My understanding, and tell me if I'm wrong, is you can bring your own refrigerator. If you want a microwave, you have to rent a refrigerator microwave combination from Elon. Otherwise, no
correct.
microwave.
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
And also, orientation leaders are not allowed to help you bring up the fridges because it's like a liability thing. So we're not technically allowed to do that. So I would be mindful of that when packing a mini fridge.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can rent, like Andy mentioned, the micro fridge. You can go to the residence hall's website and there's information. Again, you could just put micro fridge in the search bar and that would get you directly there. I believe if you rent a micro fridge, it will already be brought to your room ahead of time, so you wouldn't have to move that in. Um, so
Yeah, and then a couple of questions around just walking distances. So I think once you drop your student off and you park your car, there are designated public, or not public, but parking areas where you can go. Everything is close. The campus is not huge, so you can get anywhere walking in 15 minutes. And same, there's a question around how close is a dorm to the mailroom. It's all close. There's not a lot of walking, not a lot of hiking you're going to have to do.
yes, yeah. So, plenty of parking. No, you will not be at the front door of the residence hall. Our parking areas are kind of on the outer part of campus, just like most college campuses. But our campus overall is not that large. I can get from the furthest points to the furthest point in about 15 minutes, from what I consider South Campus all the way to Shar Center in 15 minutes. So I would say most parking lots are less than that. So no worries, no matter what time you arrive here, there'll be plenty of parking. It just might be, again, it will be further out, but nothing is crazy far by no means. The mailroom is located inside of Mosley Center, which is right beside of Alumni Gym, is where Young Commons, is that, if you're on Haggard, it's directly across from Alamance, where the fountain is that a lot of people take pictures and whatnot. So Mosley Center is across the road at the opposite side of the quad, there. And the mailroom is inside of Mosley Center. That's also where you'll find, orientation headquarters. So if you have any questions at all, including, if you need to buy the wristbands for the send-off picnic or a t-shirt, you can do that on campus, there at orientation headquarters. So, but I see several questions about the bed risers and whatnot. All of that, it will be near in that tent area or nearby, the residence hall. And you just need to ask, one of the Elon staff members, where to get the supplies, and they'll also be able to help you. And like I said, if you order the micro fridge, that will be delivered to the residence hall, the room before move-in. So, international student move-in is slightly different. Your schedule starts on Wednesday. And there might be some help around, but there won't be as many people, so there's no crowds at all. But you'll start moving in on Wednesday and Thursday, and there's programming for international students and families. You can also find that on New Student, Program site as well. That will kind of list it out, and then, international students will join all the other students for orientation starting, Friday afternoon. So you've moved in, went through Shar Center at your move-in time, got in your packet, went to the resident hall, had everything unloaded, and all the volunteers helped and got most of the things in the room and started unpacking. And then orientation starts 4:30, for the students. And like I said, that's when parents can go to, a program and have, some information from several different campus partners. Our office will be there, campus safety, and some others will be there answering questions and giving out information. And then that Friday evening, students will have time to have dinner with their families. Is that correct, Elena?
I think that it honestly depends. They might be having dinner with their RAs that night, and that would be the complication. Um, if they have dinner with their orientation leaders, it's not mandatory because we understand that families are still there, but there will be set times with the orientation leaders that the orientation leaders will be at the dining halls and communicate that with their group so that if your families have already left or your families are busy or something like that, there is someone that you can eat with. However, if the RAs have dinner with them that night, it's a different situation. I can't remember off the top of my head. I do apologize.
Gotcha. No worries. That's also on the schedule. You can
Yes, it is.
see, at New Student Program. And then there's still Friday evening, there's still activities for the students. So parents can go back to the hotel, rest a little bit. It's been a long day of moving, different items in and whatnot. So, and then Saturday morning, we kick off one of our traditions on campus is college coffee that happens every Tuesday. It's a chance for the entire community to kind of pause, come together, to have coffee and pastries and whatnot on, the Commons. And it's from 9:40 to 10:20. So just a little bit of time to catch up, see your professors and whatnot. So we are offering families kind of a chance to duplicate that Saturday morning before new student convocation. Um, that will be on the outside, the corner of Lebanon and Williamson, directly across from the Oak House. You'll see tents and tables there. Is right there where Turner Theater is and Shar Hall, the communications building is. So you can come by and get coffee before new student convocation because the students stayed overnight in their resident hall and they are meeting up in alumni gym at 8 a.m. Might be a little early for them, um, but for new student convocation. Elena, what would you suggest students wear for new student convocation?
Yeah, really quickly, I did just get clarification. So that first evening, the options are off campus with family, dining halls, anything like that, and the orientation leaders will be available for dinner. So I just did want to clarify that. As for convocation, I would recommend just wearing something comfortable, like I'd say like business casual. Like so if you're a woman or feminine presenting, I would say like a dress or a skirt and a blouse or something. If you're more masculine, then I would say like khakis and a polo or something like that. So it's a nice opportunity to take pictures with the events that you have going on with convocation, everything like that. I wouldn't show up in sweatpants or pajamas. It's more of a nicer thing, but nothing ex like fancy. So that would be my recommendation.
Yes, and weather permitting, convocation is outside under the oaks. It's in the historic area near West Residence Hall. So it is one of our Elon traditions. Had we many years ago when had much smaller graduating classes, we had graduation under the oaks. Now that we're much larger, we do it in Shar Center, but under the oaks is kind of ceremonial for us. So Katie and Andy, do you remember attending new student convocation when Andrew moved in?
We do. We thought it started at 9, which it does, but all of the students process in starting at 8:30. So it is a good idea to get there by 8:30 so you can watch it. It's pretty special watching all of the kids come through. It's just a great tradition.
Yeah, so new student convocation is a time when President Book will speak, the student government president will speak, there'll be some other speakers, singers, and like Katie mentioned, the students will begin proceeding in. So that's 15 plus hundred of them are coming through and they walk through Alamance Building, which houses a bell that survived a fire in the early 1900s. So there's a tradition to touch the bell as you're walking through. Um, Definitely try to be in your seats by 8:30. Otherwise, you might be waiting for a spot to slide through the line, or just might be waiting till 9 o'clock to be able to sit down. So um, after new student convocation is when students receive their acorn. Elena, do you still have your acorn?
I do. My mom got me a very nice little acorn box, a wooden box, so it was like shaped like an acorn, had a screw on top, and so I kept my acorn in there. And with moving in and out of dorms every year, I have it in my house so I don't lose it, and I'm very excited to then take a picture of it with my sapling that I get at graduation in just a couple of months. So I really enjoyed convocation. And I have a picture of my, sorry, I have a picture in front of the Alamance Fountain with my acorn in my hand, so I'm planning on recreating that for grad pictures.
Yes, yes. So it is a nice ceremony, and as Elena mentioned, students receive their acorn at new student convocation, and then at baccalaureate for graduation week, they receive their oak sapling to kind of signify growing from an acorn to an oak. So it is nice to be able to see that. I think Elena mentioned summer business casual is probably a good dress code. Um, for new student convocation since it is outside. It will eventually get warm on Saturday. Hopefully no rain. And there's different events still happening Saturday morning through lunch for families. So dress comfortably, but it is a nice ceremony outdoors. So after new student convocation, um, students go with their orientation leaders. Um, Someone was asking the time of the coffee. I don't know if I said that. The coffee before new student convocation starts at 7:30, I believe, 7:30 in the morning, and will end at 8:20, so you can get to your seat. You are more than welcome to take your coffee and pastry or fruit, whatever, with you to your seat. We definitely want you to be able to enjoy that. So but definitely try to be seated by 8:20. Parking on Saturday, it will be in similar lots that you would have parked in for Friday afternoon. So none of the parking lots are too far away. So again, a 10-minute walk to Under the Oaks, which is behind West. You'll be able to find it. You'll see people walking toward it. All the students will be sitting together as a class because they'll walk in. So the parents will be sitting on the outer edges. You'll see where it's the faculty will be sitting in the middle as well as the students will be sitting in the middle together with their other classmates. So um, while students are going, at the end of new student convocation, they'll go to their orientation leaders. Parents are able to go to meet your student's Elon 1010 advisor. Um, Andy and Katie, were you able to do that when Andrew first arrived?
We were, and maybe just for reference, Elon 1010 is the class that all incoming students take that gives them sort of a view of how to be an Elon student, very practical things. It's great. And I believe each of those classes is taught by a faculty member and a student. So you kind of get both perspectives. And we did meet them, and it was really good to get plugged into that and just kind of hear how they were thinking about introducing Elon to our students.
Yeah. So it's great. Your student's Elon 1010 advisor will be with them that first year. And actually until they declare their major, that will be their advisor, helping them plan. Elena, do you remember any part of your Elon 1010? I know different groups, some do scavenger hunts and some do some different things, learning about Elon, or do you remember any of the different activities your group did?
Yeah, so I had a great 1010 experience. They walked me through how to use all of the different websites that Elon uses. So this year it'll be Canvas, and so if you have confusion about that, don't stress. First of all, we're all trying to figure it out together, but also um, the 1010 professors will be able to walk the students through that. And then we also did a scavenger hunt in the library to be able to identify stuff that we need. And that included finding where we would talk to our personal librarian. We went to other spots on campus that we might need to locate easily, like the Mosley front desk for anything, the mail room, things like that. And so some days it was presentations about how to get adjusted. And some days it was information about things at Elon, and some days it was exploring to really put that information to an image in your brain. So it was really, really informative. And I still talk to many people in my 1010 class, um, even in senior year, which is amazing.
And during Elon 1010, you kind of map out a 4-year plan of like how you want to take your classes and maybe when you want to do study abroad and different things like that.
Yes, so the final project you do is your 4-year plan on track, and that is basically so that no one feels unprepared to fulfill all of the general education requirements. They're not hard to fulfill, but sometimes it seems daunting if you don't have it laid out of this is when I'm going to take my society and this is when I'm going to take my civilization credit and stuff like that. Um, that is very well subject to change. You are not locked into that. I went into Elon undecided and then I declared nursing as my major. And so naturally, my courses that I took changed. You're not locked into your 4-year plan. It's just to kind of help you guide through what you need to graduate and everything like that, but there's no pressure to continue with what you have originally.
Yes, it's just a guide. Yes, yes. So Saturday, parents can meet Elon 1010 advisors after new student convocation. And again, the time frames are listed on the schedule on new student programs website. And then there's an information fair that will be happening on Young Commons with all different campus partners, including the Office of Parent Engagement. Will have tables there as well, um, to help answer any questions that you may have. And then there's a send-off picnic. So Katie and Andy, did you guys do the send-off picnic with Andrew?
We did, and it was really kind of a great way to say our final goodbyes and just a definitive time where we needed to leave because it was hard to say goodbye. So yeah, it was a great experience.
Yes, so there's several tents throughout campus that you'll be able to find quite easily with tables and the food. So you can get wristbands for the picnic. At any point in time before going to the a tent from orientation headquarters inside of the student center, which is located at the back end of Young Commons beside the library and alumni gym. Very easy to find. You'll be right there for the information fair as well. So, and then, so Katie and Andy, you guys left after the picnic.
Directly after. That's right. Yep.
So, what advice would you give to parents about kind of transitioning? Um, I'm gonna make this a big question. So, maybe like advice of transitioning from your student being at home to now, technically, if they're 18 and an adult, um, and being on their own, not being at home every day and whatnot. And also, did you set up a time? I know some families did like a check-in time, maybe Sunday evenings, or had a schedule of when they were going to check in and touch base.
Well, for Andrew, we did not set up a set time because he communicates with us a lot. He calls and texts a lot. Carter, our incoming freshman, it may be a different situation where we will probably set up a time to where we know we can get that check-in, make sure everything is okay. I will say that they do contact you when they're feeling lonely and sad. But when things are amazing, you don't hear from them at all. So sometimes no news is really good news.
Yes, yes, that's very, very true. Um, so any like the first little bit of advice for families of how to adjust to having them at school or dealing with those crisis phone calls?
Yeah, I mean, it is an adjustment, and they all go through it, and they all get through it. And what we try to tell our kids is everybody's new. It's a new experience for everybody. Nobody knows anybody. So don't feel like you're the only one that's alone because you have 1,500 other people who are also feeling very alone. So just know that and try to reach out and try to engage with people. And before you know it, you'll be in the swing of things. And those first couple of sad days will be a distant memory.
Yeah, great advice. Elena, you were the student, probably feeling some of these feelings and making some adjustments. Any advice you would give to anybody in the first year?
Yeah, I would say from the parent side, I would say check in, but maybe not to put too much pressure on it. Because I think that check-ins are really important. And sometimes, if you're checking on your student, it really does help them stop and think, like, how am I doing right now? Like, what has been going on? Which is beautiful. But I think that in some instances, I think that kind of wish at some points it was more of a check-in with my parents rather than like, tell me all about your day. Like, it just seemed very like, all right, let me figure this out while I'm also figuring out how to live by myself. So I think that 100% come up with a way to communicate them. And I honestly think that it varies by child, as they were saying. I think that it depends, but I know that getting those check-ins, being like, "How are you doing? What's going on?" instead of like, "What happened on Monday? What happened on Tuesday? What happened on Wednesday?" Like, you know what I mean? So I think that I really valued those check-ins because it made me feel more connected at home. And sometimes no news is good news. And I also would advise to try your best not to take it personally if for the first little bit you're not in contact with them as much because I know that I felt really guilty about not texting my mom every day just because life was happening and classes were starting and everything like that. And I felt like she was going to think that I didn't need her anymore. They need you. They still love you. They still want to talk to you. Um, Try not to take it personally because they're just adjusting to a bunch of things. And it's okay for you to reach out and not wait for them to reach out.
And as a student, you get busy with classes and classwork and if you're involved in anything. So I think sometimes we forget that as parents, we're not there seeing it. So we don't know all the projects that you're working on or when, what exams are coming up and whatnot.
Yeah,
So,
it's not
but
intentional, I promise.
yes. But speaking of getting involved, what is your best advice for first year students to get involved?
Yeah, my best advice would be to go to the fall organization fair. It's at the very beginning of September, and it's a fantastic fair where you get to walk around all of the organizations and clubs that Elon has to offer. You can sign up for as many as you would like with no pressure of actually going to those meetings. I know that I signed up for a lot when I went to org fair, predicting that I had all the time in the world to just commit to clubs and organizations. And I stuck with a couple of them. For example, I was in club nursing, I was in the biology club, I was a part of an LGBTQ plus club, things like that that I would go to, but then there are other clubs um, that I just couldn't make time for, and that's totally okay. That would definitely be my number one recommendation. There's one in the fall and in the spring for org fair. So if your student misses the one in the fall or didn't really like what they joined in the fall. There's also one in the spring. Also, Phoenix Connect is a really, really great website to figure out all of the events that are happening on campus. That can be athletic events, arts events, events that clubs and organizations are putting on. Even if you're not a part of the club or organization, you can attend them. I would highly recommend Phoenix Connect as a point of finding out what's happening in the hub of what's going on at Elon with clubs and organizations. I love Phoenix Connect. I also think that the Student Union Board has great events. They do things like Cram Jam at the end of the semesters, where during finals they put on like a little show for you. You have like airbrushed hats and candy and massage chairs to kind of like de-stress your mind from finals week. They also do late night Elon. They do movies in the Turner Theater every single week, playing movies that are actually pretty popular now, not just really old ones. They also do bingo, monthly bingo, which is amazing.
I've heard bingo is quite popular.
Bingo is very popular. There are themes each month, and if you dress up or like bring something with you that's associated with a theme, you get an extra board. So hot commodities that they give out for bingo. That would be my biggest recommendations about getting involved. I would also say that even if your student signs up for a bunch of stuff, and doesn't go to it, that's completely fine. They're still supporting the club in some way. It's very low commitment. You can show up to one meeting a semester or all of the meetings. It's really what you feel like you can do. Um, and the clubs and organizations are happy to have you or happy to have your support no matter what. These
Yes.
activities, so the Student Union Board sub is what puts on the fun activities such as Cram Jam, a late night Elon, the movies, bingo, all of that kind of stuff. Phoenix Connect is where you can find um, all of the events that the clubs and organizations are having. And then the Elon Job Network also is where you can find job postings. Those are my things.
Super, super. Katie and Andy, do you remember any of the first organizations or clubs that Andrew may have tried out?
Well, Andrew, who he had never done this before, signed up to be work with the TV show Elon Win Stuff. and he auditioned to be their host. It's a weekly game show like Elon Jeopardy, Pop Trivia, and he ended up being the host for the past 3 years, which he will finish doing this year, which is something he's never done before.
That's
He also
amazing.
works with Elon Sports Vision. Andy, what else?
Oh gosh, I mean, coming out of that of the organization there, he joined all kinds of things, and I don't remember all of them, but absolutely is a great place for him to really start to get involved with Elon. So I agree with Elena. Highly recommend that they spend a lot of time at the organization fair.
And sign up for lots of things, and you can go to it. If you don't like it, you don't have to go back, but it's a great way to meet lots and lots of people.
Great advice. Yes, yes. Um, just kind of going through the calendar. The next big thing that families might be interested in would be well, I'll pause there. When you were Elena, when you were talking about the different activities on campus, students get free tickets to sporting events, cultural programs. All they have to do is actually just you can do your tickets now online using your Elon credentials and reserving them. So for like the football game, students have a student section, and then there's also a space where the what we call the hill, where you can sit on the hill. Um, you could bring a chair to sit on the top of the hill and whatnot. But almost all events, students get in free for. So, which also includes fall convocation, which is happening during family weekend. So the end of September, September 25th, 26th, is family weekend. Families are welcome to register. Registration is still open. So it is a busy time on campus. There's hotels might be a little hard to find in Burlington. You may have to go outside of Burlington, but Greensboro, Mebane, Chapel Hill, you're still within 30, 35 minutes. It's not that crazy far at all. So, Katie and Andy, I know you've been to every family weekend.
We have, and all have been great. You know, we do a little tailgate party, you go to the football game, which is fun. You do get a chance to meet your students' professors, which is great. You go sort of go around on a tour, and whichever of them you would like to meet, they're available to talk to you, which is really wonderful. And it's a good time. It's, you know, a month or so after school has started, so your student is settled in, kind of knows what they're doing and where they're going. You get to meet some of their new friends, and it's a really great event.
I loved it. Andrew was so confident and happy and wanted to show us everything on Parents Weekend. We got the full tour. It was wonderful to see how much he had blossomed.
Oh yeah, I think that's a big thing is so we have on the Family Weekend website, there's you can register. It is only one registration fee of $35 per family. So it's only for the whole family, one-time fee. That helps us with different materials and whatnot. But it also, if you register, it helps us to be able to pull your student schedule. And as Andy mentioned, then you get to know on Saturday morning where your professors for your students, they might be in different spots. You may not have the time to go to every spot and meet them. It might be a couple highlights. You can ask your student maybe which ones they would recommend you go meet. They're not going to, this professor's not going to do, it's not like elementary school where they do a one-on-one and talk about, you know, how they're doing in class and how they're doing on projects or tests. It's more of an overview of what the professor might be discussing in class. Um, you know, this is another transition point where, you know, the student now has the responsibility to communicate with the professors one-on-one. But this is your chance to kind of find out what they're talking about and in you know lit or applied math or whatever it is that they're taking for the fall. So, but highly suggest you can look at the whole schedule. There's different events happening starting Friday afternoon. Like I mentioned, Fall Convocation. The speaker is an author, Arthur Brooks, um, has wrote several different books about happiness and well-being. And then full events on Saturday, beginning with Coffee with the President. Katie and Andy, have you attended Coffee with the President before? It's kind of early on Saturday morning. Yeah. So that's a time President Book is really truly walking around, and she's very approachable. So families can stop and chat with her, and coffee and pastries um, are there also for you to have a nice little breakfast. And then she has an update inside of Alumni Center, Alumni Gym, so you're able to sit for a little bit and hear from her. Then it would be time to talk to the professors. Um, there's other things happening. There's a full list of activities, the football game, and then my favorite is Rockapella that happens on Saturday evening. Um, I see Elena nodding her head. Even if you're not here, even if your parents aren't here as a student, you can still go to Rockapella with your friends and enjoy it. So, favorite,
Rockefeller is great. They are so
yeah,
talented. I love going to that, even if my family isn't able to make family weekend.
yes, yes. Um, there we also have my favorite event that happens end of November, 1st of December. I'll just mention it. Is an Elon tradition called Festival of Lights. And it's just a magical evening when the pathways are lit with luminaries, and different organizations and groups have tables and explain how light inter is involved in their religious organization or their group or whatnot, singing hot chocolate and everything. So you'll get information about that. Students go home for winter break. Any advice on like the transition for like fall break or winter break, Andy and Katie, for when students go home?
It's a little bit shocking because they are used to complete independence and we want them to follow all our rules and come home at 11 and they don't want to. And they really want to see their friends more than they want to see us. So just as long as you know that going in.
They want to see us too.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
I would
Elena?
definitely agree. I think that it was a really interesting transition back when I mean, I went home for fall break and Thanksgiving break, but that extended winter break was um, an adjustment. It wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it was definitely an adjustment for my mom and I because I was so used to doing everything myself and living by myself. And then I went home and she was like, "Okay, you have to clean your room. Like at this point, I need you to do this shit at this point." And like I completely understand where she was coming from. Like she was valid for that. But at the same time, I was like, I'm not used to this anymore. I'm on my own. So I think that really the most important advice I would is have a very open conversation with your student about how you all will approach that. That's not to say one way is right or one way is wrong. It's just having that discussion and knowing going into it can ease a lot of tension, and a lot of maybe some difficulties because you're so excited to see them and they're like, wait, but I was by myself. Now what? So that would be my advice.
Yes, yes. Going back to fall break, um, have has Andrew come home for every fall break? Elena, have you gone home for every fall break? Because I know there's some campus trips that happen during fall break, and people do different things.
Andrew came home his freshman and sophomore year, and then his junior year, he traveled with Elon friends for fall break.
Yes. Elena, did
I went home, I wouldn't say my freshman and my junior year, but my sophomore year, I went to visit my roommate's family just because I think that we had a really important exam next week. And so I had to spend the time studying because she's also a nursing major. And so I had to spend the time studying and we study well together. So I think that for that limited time, I got to step away from campus, but I just went to Raleigh instead of all the way down to Atlanta.
There. So then we have J term, which is a little unique for some universities. It is just for the month of January, 3.5 weeks. Um, so right after students come back from winter break, J term starts. It's People often ask, do students come back for J term? Majority do. If they're not coming back on campus for J term, they may have opted to do a study abroad for J term. But they typically do come back to do a class for J term. So, Elena, can you explain like what a J term class looks and why I'm saying class singularly?
Yeah, of course. So J term is just January term. We just shorten it to J term. And it's a really great opportunity to take a full semester course in a compressed 3 weeks. And so you have a class that you sign up for, and you sign up for it when you sign up for spring classes. So whenever your registration is for the spring, sometime in the fall you register for that is also when you sign up for the J term class. Um, and for 3 hours every day, either in the morning section or in the afternoon section, you take a class. Um, the professors are really good at making it interactive or non-repetitive because they do understand that compressing a whole semester's worth of information into 3 hours every day for 3 weeks can be very tedious and boring at some points just because of the nature of sitting in the classroom for that long. So they're very good at making the information accessible within that time constraint. Um, I think J-term is a really great opportunity because it allows you to explore things that you might not otherwise have explored. For example, my close friend took weaving. She never would have done weaving. However, J-term gave her the time and the opportunity to take a course like that and experience something that she wouldn't have been able to do during a full semester in order to get one of her arts expression courses. I've also taken a class during J term that was going to be incredibly hard with my nursing schedule. So it's like a very like writing intensive course. And I took it during term to make sure that I was able to put the amount of effort and attention that it deserved and that I wanted to give to the class without also trying to juggle all of the other classes at the same time. So students take it different routes. They can take it as something that exploring something that they think they might be interested in or have no idea if they're going to be interested in and diving deeper into that or taking a course that they're like, I need to dial in on just this one class in order to understand the material and do the best that I can. It just depends on how that works into your schedule and everything like that. But I think that J term is also really great because it's included in fall tuition. Um,
Yeah.
and that's
And it's
another
al-
really
and
good
it,
thing.
and it's also a great way to stay on track to graduate in four
Hmm.
years. And
Yes,
I feel like
definitely.
because of J term, many students have a couple of, at least a minor and a major. And you said Andrew has,
Well, Andrew
yeah,
took a general ed requirement in J term of his freshman year, German literature, German something, and he hit it off with his professor and now is a German minor. He had never taken any German before that J term class. Ended up in Heidelberg for 6 weeks living with a family after his sophomore year. So that was it just completely unexpected when he signed up for that class. He loved it. It was a great experience. Um,
yeah.
I don't remember your question.
No, that's no, it does highlight like what that you can kind of try out an interest or discover an interest through taking a J-term class that maybe it wasn't on your radar at all. And then poof, it's now a minor.
Yep.
Oh,
So
and yes, that was your question. He has three minors, but one of them is German, unexpectedly.
yes.
I also think that
Um,
J term is really great for people who want to study abroad but may not have the schedule or the time commitment to do a full semester. I'm studying abroad in the Dominican Republic with the nursing program this J term, and we do a prep seminar course in the semester before, which is typically why first years aren't able to study abroad, because also we want to make sure that they are fully acclimated to the space without jumping into a new situation. So I will be taking that prep seminar course for Dominican Republic, and then I will be going to the Dominican Republic for the 3 weeks in J-term with the nursing program. And that's really fantastic for somebody like me who does not want to be away from home for the full semester. I am a very like homebody, and I want to be close to my people and stuff like that. And so I think that that is such an amazing opportunity to study abroad for the full semester. But sometimes that doesn't work with the program demands that you're a part of, and sometimes that doesn't work with where you are at mentally. So I think that J-term is a great opportunity for that as well.
Yes, and mentioning study abroad, you can study abroad. First years cannot study abroad their first year. And you mentioned kind of why is because when you plan to study abroad, you take a course the semester before. So that has to work out in your schedule. So that it wouldn't make sense for somebody to study abroad their first year, really until that first summer. And that would just depend. But you can study abroad fall semester, spring semester, J term, summer semester. Some people have studied abroad twice. It truly just depends on how you planned out your courses and what you're taking. So after J term, there's a little break, about 4 or 5 days, and for um, female students, that's the time when the sororities do recruitment. So if a girl is interested in a sorority, they would stay on campus in between J term and spring semester. No one rushes during fall semester. So you have to be here at least a full semester. We want to make sure students have gotten used to being a college student, and then they can do recruitment. So sororities do it during that little break, and then fraternities do it spring semester. Did Andrew go through recruitment?
So he did not his freshman year, and it was a great freshman year and had an awesome experience. He did his sophomore year, and that's been an awesome experience. So we've seen both, and both have been great for him.
There was a question, just some concern about, I know you hear, how fraternities more so than sororities, but fraternities might have some hazing. Any issues, Katie and Andy, with Andrew going through? Okay,
No,
Nope.
he
super.
did not have any, there was not hazing. In fact, they strictly enforced no drinking for the pledges, and he really bonded with his pledge class, I guess that's what it's called. It was a good experience.
Super, super. Well, we are right almost at 8 o'clock. I know Will and Robin have been busy answering questions. Is there any questions, Will or Robin, that we should highlight to everybody?
So definitely seeing some themes here. Wanted to send a few extra resources in the chat while we have just a minute. The student and family orientation schedule can be found on this website that I just sent in the chat. It's our new student programs website, and they hold most of the events that happen over move-in weekend. So be sure to check out um, that schedule of events before move in. Our Phoenix Living account is where you can find that dashboard pass that you'll need for the move-in process. So if you have not yet printed out or seen that, you can find that, and your student can find that by logging into their Phoenix Living account. And then just a real quick plug, because Family Weekend is one of the weekends that I help to lead along with my colleagues. And so here is our Family Weekend website as well. If you're watching this recorded, you can find that very easily just with a quick Google search as well. But wanted to share that information, and very much looking forward to seeing everyone soon. We hold several webinars throughout the fall semester through this office, so be sure to check out those as well.
Super. Elena, any last bits of wisdom that you would share with the incoming students?
Yeah, I would say that it's going to be hectic and it's going to be great. I think that it will be an adjustment, but I would say really try to buy into it. You're going to get out of the experience what you put into it. And I can't wait to see everybody in a couple weeks since I'll be at all those events managing them. So I'm very excited for it.
Super, super. Katie and Andy, any last minute advice for parents?
I just say that our older son has had such an amazing experience, and we look forward to your students having the same.
I agree.
Super. Yes, because you guys will be right there with all the other class of 2030 families next Friday for move-in. So it'll be great to see you guys on campus. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for being on the webinar and your questions. That's been great. If we did not get to your question or you think of something, feel free to email parent engagement at elon.edu, and we'll be happy to answer your question or connect you to the resource that you need. Again, that's parent engagement at elon.edu. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Katie, Andy, and Elena. I greatly appreciate your experience, your wisdom, and your time. And thanks for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good evening.